All right then, I think I'm down to the wire, so to speak. About ready for a final coat of mud over this whole thing now. And then it'll be a lot of hand sanding and of course most of you know there's nothing better than a bloody good hand job, right? So anyways, it's basically what it is now. I built this whole thing from scratch, taken a couple years, and I don't know what you can see in this video, but between the tools I have and hand sanding, this is what it's going to be. Now right down this edge, where the edge of the roof line is, the side panel goes on there. And that'll cover the edge of it, so there's a lot of places where there's no worries. But this is foam. I started off with some screen, like you screen a window with, and put some sticks inside to make the shape, generalized it. Then I went and sprayed spray foam over it, like the cans you buy to insulate cracks in the walls and things like that. And I shaped the whole shape of it with that foam. Then I took a hacksaw blade and utility knives and whatever and started carving away. See, if you look right there, there's a little bit of foam showing through yet. So I still got to coat that. But I have a couple of edges inside that have to get coated yet, so I got one more round of touching up things. See, there's another spot there. They're going to be thin, but they'll be all right. I don't think they'll fall apart. Not in those little spots. And some of the darker places you can see where the Bondo hasn't filled in, and that's what the skim coat will do over the top when I get done. But after I put the foam on, then I bought this Bondo. It's called Hair Bondo. And I'm telling you, this stuff is like a rock. It's amazing. It's basically fiberglass, I think, because it has fiberglass strands in it. And it's amazing how hard that stuff has gotten. And then now I've been top coating it with just regular Bondo because it's the cheapest. And it's always, you know, my dad has always used it. I've always used it. If you use it proper, the preparation is the key to everything anyways. And I don't expect this thing to be perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. If you ever saw one of these as they came out of the factory, there are pictures of them online in manufacturing. They're pretty rough. They were all hand-shaped, most of them. So you get an idea of what's going on. But this basically should show you everything. See how rough it is around the headlight? See, those are spots that have to get touched up when I do this last skim coat. But I got a pretty good idea how that's going to be. And I made the headlight ring out of wood. And turned it out on the lathe. Sanded it down. And stuffed it in there. And I took a piece of small aluminum furnace pipe and made the piece that holds the headlight in place. I rolled it around and then screwed it in, and I just kind of stuck it out the front, marked the place, cut a hole, and there it is. So there's, you know, that little bit's got to get touched up yet. But I think it's going to be all right. It's certainly come around a lot. And of course the windows, they're very close. And I've been using a pattern to keep them somewhat close, but I'm not getting that particular. I am not Leonardo da Vinci. I am not Picasso. I'm none of those people, if you know what I'm saying. So it's close enough. And once I put the windows in and trim them, you probably won't know any difference anyways. Not unless you're one of those nitpicking rivet counters. So anyways, that's basically that part. The roof is pretty much done. It's basically all sanded except that one panel right there, and the rest is, you know, ready for paint. Now, as far as the inside, how you like that mess, huh? Pretty wild, huh? There is dust. Oh, the whole shop. Geez, it's horrible in here. I can't stand it, actually. Look at that. And, of course, the mower's covered up. The car's outside. But in here, now, if you don't mind, if you got time to listen, that's great. If you don't, doesn't matter. But this is, you know, this is all Bondo in here. With hair underneath, the Bondo hair underneath. And then I formed it like I said, by hand. And then there's metal panels to cover things. You know, sorry I'm going so fast, but, you know, there's stuff that hangs on the wall here. I got this all squared up. Negative and positive connections for all the dash parts and switches and blah, blah, blah. They all come in through plumbing. I don't know if you saw it in the picture of the outside. But basically this is, you know, this up here is what I'm working on now. This is the last coat of Bondo I'm going to put over it. And then sand it down as best I can. Mostly it'll be hand sanded from here on out. And I think that'll fix that. This right here, I got to fill this corner a little bit so it's more rounded. And then over here, this one is about done. Yes, they're a little different, but if you see the inside of these things, if you really went online and searched what the insides look like, this thing doesn't look too bad, actually. So there you have it. Pull for the air horn. The horn piece is right behind my head where I'm sitting now, and if I lean back too far, boy, does that leave a mark. And of course, the control box with all the switches, and the control stand, my little homemade control stand for fuel and forward and reverse. There's no brakes. Everybody's having a, you know, you gotta have brakes. No, I don't know any brakes. Stay off the tracks. It won't be a problem. But basically, there you go. That's the workings of it and what it's all about. So, if anything, this is just a post for me to go back and look at over the years until I shit the bed and I'm not here to do it anymore. But until then, I'm enjoying the hell out of this project. I even put a crank window in here. I got the workings for the window from a 76 Ford F-150. Found it online for like 20 bucks. The whole mechanism that goes inside the door. And of course the window is just made out of some plastic. Not typical plastic, but acrylic. But it works just fine. So I'm pretty tickled with that. I was going to do it on the other side, but no, it's not going to happen. But while we're here, there's the workings. There's the plumbing over there where all the wires run to the back. The compressor's covered up. The fuel tank and the lid and the air breather's covered up. The motor, the fuel linkage, the alternator, and the second alternator, they're covered up. The battery, the control box, ignition box, whatever you want to call it. More plumbing. The fans. So, you know, here's the rear of it. I don't know if I've even taken any pictures of the rear of this thing, but I don't even know if I can take a picture of it. Maybe if I turn this way, you can see better. I don't know. It's a brand new phone and camera. I mean, like yesterday, brand new. So I don't know if it's focusing properly or not, but I think you get the idea. Yeah, not the best video, but you see. So, there it is. That's the generalness of it all. And of course, I'll make another one here pretty soon to finish all that off. It gets the water test probably, I don't know, probably be midweek sometime I get home from work. It'll get the water test. And basically what that is, if you don't know, like when you're working on a car or something, you sand it all down, get the Bondo prepped, and get everything ready. And when you go to sand it, if you wet sand it, and Pop used to do it, and I used to do it when I was painting cars in my shop, you just pour water over everything. And when it glistens, it's like when the paint glistens and you can see all the bad spots. And I'm not worried about seeing a lot of dips and dings in that, like I said before. When they were manufactured, most of these corners were hand pounded out and made. There was no presses for that stuff. But I don't care. I'm not that particular. I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I just think it looks cool and I'm happy with it. And that's pretty much all that matters. So thanks if you sat through this whole thing. If you didn't, then you didn't hear this part, did you? Cheerio, chaps.